The 1980s were a defining decade for John Deere, a period when innovation met sheer power, and the green and yellow giants of the fields transformed farming forever. It was an era when tractors weren't just tools, they were statements of engineering mastery built for strength, endurance, and precision. From massive 4WD monsters that ruled the plains, to futuristic combines and technologically advanced harvesters, John Deere's lineup during this decade didn't just compete, it dominated. These were the machines that didn't just plow fields, they plowed into history. Here are 10 John Deere machines from the 1980s that truly shocked the world. Number 1. John Deere 4850. When the John Deere 4850 was unveiled in 1983, it wasn't just a new tractor, it was a statement of dominance, the kind that said, "We're here to redefine farming." Back in the early 80s, the farming world was changing fast. Fields were getting larger, machinery was getting more complex, and farmers needed a tractor that could keep up with the demands of modern agriculture. That's when the 4850 entered the scene, and it became an instant legend. Under its long green hood lived a 7.6-liter six-cylinder turbocharged diesel engine that produced a monstrous 125 horsepower. But horsepower wasn't what made it special. It was how effortlessly that power was delivered. With its PowerShift transmission, farmers could shift through 15 forward and 4 reverse gears without touching the clutch. Smooth, powerful, reliable. This tractor could pull 8 bottom plows, power the biggest seeders, and handle any implement you threw at it. And it did all that without breaking a sweat. Farmers loved how the 4850 just kept going, day after day, season after season. And then there was the comfort. The 4850 came with John Deere's famous Sound Guard cab, a revolutionary feature at the time. It gave farmers an air-conditioned, soundproof, and dust-free working environment, something that felt futuristic back then. Imagine sitting inside that cab, engine rumbling below, endless fields stretching ahead. For farmers of the 1980s, this wasn't just work, it was pride. Even decades later, the John Deere 4850 remains one of the most sought-after tractors ever made. Collectors rebuild them. Farmers still use them, and every time one starts up, that deep growl reminds everyone why the 4850 truly shocked the world. It was more than just metal and machinery. It was power perfected. Number 2. John Deere 8640. If you were standing in a cornfield in 1980 and saw a John Deere 8640 coming toward you, you'd probably stop and stare. Because this wasn't just a tractor, it was a beast. The John Deere 8640 was born for the biggest jobs imaginable. It was a 4-wheel drive articulated tractor, built to dominate the toughest terrains and the largest farms. Its massive 10.4-liter 6-cylinder turbo diesel engine pumped out an incredible 275 horsepower, making it one of the most powerful tractors of its time. This machine didn't just plow fields, it devoured them. Its articulated design allowed the front and rear halves to pivot independently, giving it unmatched flexibility on rough, uneven ground. That meant the 8640 could handle massive plows, chisel cultivators, and planters across thousands of acres without missing a beat. But for all its size and strength, the 8640 wasn't just brute force, it was also intelligent. It came equipped with John Deere's Sound Guard body, giving the operator a level of comfort that farmers had only dreamed of. Inside, it was quiet, climate-controlled, and perfectly sealed against dust and noise. For many, climbing into an 8640 felt like entering the cockpit of a machine from the future. You weren't just driving a tractor, you were commanding one of the most advanced pieces of equipment in agriculture. Across the Great Plains, it became a symbol of modern farming. Its wide stance, massive dual wheels, and the thunderous sound of its diesel engine became the soundtrack of progress. Even today, when collectors fire one up at vintage tractor shows, the crowd gathers instantly. That deep growl from the engine is unmistakable. It's the sound of the 1980s, the sound of power, the sound of John Deere's engineering supremacy. The John Deere 8640 didn't just change how farmers worked, it changed how they felt about their machines. It was strength, precision, and pride, all rolled into one green giant. Number 3. John Deere 6620 Combine. In the early 1980s, farmers across the world were facing one big challenge: how to harvest more grain in less time, with fewer losses and with better comfort. That's when John Deere dropped a game changer: the John Deere 6620 Combine. This machine was part of the revolutionary Titan series, designed to bring high performance, reliability, and technology into one unstoppable harvester. And boy, did it deliver. The 6620 was powered by a 6-cylinder turbocharged diesel engine producing over 150 horsepower, which at that time was jaw-dropping for a combine. It featured advanced threshing and cleaning systems that dramatically improved efficiency. Farmers could cover more acres per hour and get a cleaner grain sample with less waste. Its design was all about precision. Every component from the feeder house to the grain tank was engineered for maximum flow and minimal downtime. Even the grain elevator system was reworked to ensure smoother operation. But perhaps the biggest shocker was the cab. The 6620's operator station was pure luxury for its era. It featured the iconic SoundGuard cab, providing a quiet, comfortable, and climate-controlled workspace. For farmers used to the deafening roar and dust clouds of older combines, this felt like moving from a tractor seat to a spaceship. And maintenance? John Deere made it easier than ever. Wide panels opened up key sections for quick service, meaning more time harvesting and less time fixing. Farmers loved how the 6620 felt unstoppable. Whether it was wheat, corn, or soybeans, the machine just kept going. Many of these combines are still in use today, a testament to the incredible engineering that defined them. In the 1980s, when efficiency became the new currency of farming, the John Deere 6620 was the gold standard. It wasn't just a machine, it was the dawn of a new era of precision agriculture. Number 4. John Deere 4250. If there's one John Deere tractor from the 1980s that earned universal respect, it's the John Deere 4250. Released in 1983 as part of the 50 series, the 4250 hit the perfect balance between size, power, and comfort and quickly became every farmer's go-to workhorse. This tractor packed a 7.6-liter 6-cylinder diesel engine, producing around 120 horsepower. That might sound modest compared to the big 4WD beasts, but what made the 4250 truly special was its versatility. It could plow, plant, bale, or haul. It didn't matter. This machine could do everything and do it reliably. One of its standout features was the 15-speed PowerShift transmission, allowing smooth, clutch-free shifting under load. Farmers could go from tilling to transport in seconds without losing momentum. That made a huge difference during long workdays, especially in the planting or harvest season. Then came the SoundGuard cab, a standard on the 4250. Quiet, dust-free, and surprisingly luxurious for its time, it allowed farmers to spend 12 hours in the seat without fatigue. Adjustable seating, excellent visibility, and intuitive controls gave operators a sense of control and comfort that tractors before the 1980s never had. But beyond all the engineering specs, the 4250 earned love for its reliability. These tractors rarely broke down. They were built to take punishment and keep running, year after year through mud, snow, and drought. Farmers often say, if you had one tractor to rely on during the 1980s, it was the 4250. That reputation still holds true. Even today, these machines are sought after by collectors and farmers alike, not because they're old, but because they're timeless. In a world that was moving toward bigger, faster, and more complex machines, the John Deere 4250 proved that balance was still power. It was the everyman's tractor, the dependable green companion that made farming not just easier, but better. Number 5. John Deere 7720 Titan II. By the mid-1980s, John Deere had already built a reputation for producing some of the most reliable combines on Earth. But in 1985, the company decided to go even further, and the result was the John Deere 7720 Titan II, a machine that pushed harvest technology into a new dimension. The Titan II was more than just an upgrade, it was a revolution. It featured a 6-cylinder turbocharged diesel engine pumping out close to 180 horsepower, giving farmers more strength and stamina during those long harvest days. But power was only part of the story. The real magic was in its advanced separation and cleaning systems. The 7720 Titan II came with increased fan speeds, better airflow, and upgraded sieves that reduced grain loss dramatically. Its improved straw walker performance allowed for cleaner, more efficient harvesting, especially in corn and soybeans. Farmers could cover more acres per day with less grain waste and fewer stops for maintenance. But perhaps the biggest evolution was in operator control. Deere introduced its command console, a control center that gave the farmer real-time feedback on everything from engine performance to grain tank levels. For the first time, farmers weren't just running a machine, they were monitoring a system. The SoundGuard cab returned, but now with refinements like improved sound insulation, climate control, and ergonomically arranged controls. Long hours inside the Titan II were no longer a chore, they were an experience. The 7720 Titan II didn't just make harvesting faster, it made it smarter. It turned hard, exhausting labor into a process of precision and control. Even today, decades later, you'll still see these combines rolling through fields, their engines growling, their augers turning, and their legacy alive. In the 1980s, the John Deere 7720 Titan II wasn't just another piece of farm equipment. It was the future, wrapped in green steel and roaring to life every harvest season. Number 6. John Deere 8650. When the John Deere 8650 thundered onto the scene in 1982, it looked less like a tractor and more like something built to conquer the earth. This was Deere's crown jewel of the 4WD lineup, a monster machine built to command respect from every farmer who dared to drive it. At its heart was a 14.6-liter 6-cylinder turbocharged diesel engine, producing a staggering 290 horsepower. But the 8650 wasn't about raw numbers, it was about domination. Whether it was pulling a 50-foot cultivator ripping through heavy clay soil or handling a massive air seeder, this tractor could do it all without hesitation. The articulated steering gave it incredible maneuverability despite its size, and the massive dual tires delivered traction like nothing else in its class. Farmers said driving an 8650 felt like taming a beast, powerful, unstoppable, and yet surprisingly smooth. Inside, the SoundGuard cab provided full climate control and insulation, creating a working environment that was quiet, clean, and comfortable. The controls were intuitive, the visibility excellent, and the ride smoother than any 4WD machine before it. But what really shocked the farming world was its durability. The 8650 was built to survive decades of abuse. Whether in the freezing winds of Canada or the scorching fields of Texas, it just kept running. Farmers loved to call it the king of the plains, because when an 8650 rolled into the field, you knew serious work was about to happen. Even in modern times, restored 8650s are collector favorites. The sound of that giant diesel engine firing up still sends chills down the spine of anyone who's ever worked the land. The John Deere 8650 wasn't just a machine, it was a symbol of power and progress. A reminder that in the 1980s, John Deere didn't just build tractors, it built legends. Number 7. John Deere 2950. Not every tractor needs to roar like a monster to change the world. Some make history quietly, through reliability, practicality, and everyday hard work. That was the John Deere 2950. Introduced in 1983, this mid-range tractor became one of the most trusted names on farms everywhere. With its 5.9-liter 6-cylinder diesel engine producing around 85 horsepower, it wasn't the biggest or most powerful, but it was one of the toughest. Farmers quickly discovered that the 2950 could handle just about anything. Whether it was pulling a plow, running a baler, feeding livestock, or mowing hay, it performed every task with unmatched consistency. Its hydraulic system was smooth, responsive, and reliable, making it ideal for loader work and precision operations. The SynchroPlus transmission gave operators seamless shifting and control. It wasn't flashy, but it worked flawlessly, day in and day out. The cab, though simpler than the giant 4WD models, still provided great comfort and visibility. The 2950's layout was practical, user-friendly, and built for long hours in the field, and when something did go wrong, it was easy to repair, a mechanic's dream. Across the world, from the American Midwest to farms in Africa and South America, the 2950 became known as the unbreakable Deere. It didn't complain, it didn't quit, it just kept going. Even today, you'll find thousands of these machines still in daily use. Their paint faded, their hours high, but their hearts still strong. The 2950 didn't shock the world with power or design. It shocked it with dependability. It proved that sometimes the most remarkable machines aren't the biggest. They're the ones that never give up. Number 8. John Deere 8850. The John Deere 8850 wasn't just a tractor, it was an event. When it arrived in 1982, farmers were stunned, because for the first and only time in John Deere's history, this tractor came equipped with a V8 engine. Yes, a massive 15.0-liter John Deere-built V8 turbo diesel, producing a jaw-dropping 370 horsepower. For the 1980s, that was nearly unheard of. It made the 8850 not just one of the most powerful John Deere tractors ever built, but one of the most powerful tractors in the world. This 4WD behemoth was designed for the biggest operations imaginable. It could pull enormous cultivators, seeders, and discs across thousands of acres with ease. Its articulated steering gave it excellent maneuverability, while its 8 massive tires provided unstoppable traction. But what truly made it iconic was the sound, that deep, thunderous rumble of the V8 engine. The kind that echoed across the prairie was something every farmer remembered. Inside the cab, operators enjoyed full comfort, air conditioning, adjustable seating, and near-silent operation thanks to John Deere's perfected sound guard design. However, the 8850 was also ambitious, maybe too ambitious. Its complex engine and maintenance requirements made it expensive to own. But when everything worked perfectly, the 8850 was unbeatable. It could work from dawn till dusk and still beg for more. Today, it's considered a legend. Collectors call it the Green Beast, and enthusiasts still restore them just to hear that V8 roar one more time. The 8850 was John Deere's boldest move of the 1980s, a daring experiment that showed just how far engineering could go. It was raw power, pure confidence, and unforgettable design, all in one. The 8850 didn't just plow fields, it shook the earth. Number 9. John Deere 4050. In 1983, John Deere introduced the 4050, a tractor that proved big things often come in smaller packages. Built for versatility, reliability, and comfort, the 4050 quickly became the go-to tractor for medium-sized farms. Powered by a 5.9-liter turbocharged diesel engine producing around 105 horsepower, the 4050 had the perfect blend of muscle and efficiency. It wasn't designed to pull massive 12-bottom plows or dominate endless wheat fields. It was built to do everything else and do it well. Farmers used it for tilling, planting, baling, and transport work. Its size made it nimble enough for smaller fields, yet strong enough to tackle tough jobs when needed. The PowerShift transmission gave operators the ability to change gears smoothly on the go, while the hydraulic system offered excellent control over implements. Combined with Deere's legendary SoundGuard cab, the 4050 offered a comfortable and quiet workspace that made long hours in the field almost enjoyable. But beyond the specs, the 4050 earned love for one thing: dependability. It was the kind of tractor that started every morning, worked all day, and asked for nothing but fuel and oil. Even decades later, many farmers still rely on their 4050s for daily operations, proof that good engineering never ages. The 4050 may not have been the biggest or most powerful of its generation, but it earned something more valuable: trust. And in farming, trust is everything. It was small enough to maneuver easily, strong enough to earn respect, and reliable enough to last a lifetime. That's why even now, when farmers talk about their all-time favorite machines, the John Deere 4050 almost always makes the list. Number 10. John Deere 8820 Titan II. And finally, we end with a legend among legends, the John Deere 8820 Titan II Combine, the pinnacle of 1980s harvesting technology. When it debuted, farmers couldn't believe what they were seeing. This was the biggest, fastest, and most advanced combine of its time, capable of swallowing acres of grain like nothing before it. Powered by a 6-cylinder turbo diesel engine producing over 225 horsepower, the 8820 Titan II was a mechanical giant. Its cleaning and separating systems were redesigned for maximum efficiency, capable of processing enormous amounts of grain with almost no loss. The Titan II featured improved hydraulics, larger grain tanks, and faster unloading augers, meaning farmers could harvest longer without stopping. Its 30-foot headers devoured wheat, soybeans, and corn at record speeds. Inside the SoundGuard cab, the operator had full control, digital displays, easy-to-use levers, and near-perfect visibility. Comfort met control, and the result was pure efficiency. But the real shock was in its performance. Farmers who switched to the 8820 Titan II found they could finish harvest days earlier, saving fuel, time, and manpower. It was, quite simply, a machine ahead of its time. Even now, many are still working in fields across North America, a testament to the quality of Deere's 1980s engineering. The John Deere 8820 Titan II didn't just harvest crops, it harvested history. It was big, it was bold, and it defined what a combine should be: powerful, precise, and unstoppable. The 1980s weren't just a decade of innovation, they were a golden era for John Deere. From the thunderous 8850 V8 monster to the efficient 6620 combine and the all-time favorite 4250 tractor, each machine represented a perfect blend of power, technology, and reliability. These machines shocked the world not only because of their size or horsepower, but because they redefined what farming could be. They introduced comfort, precision, and endurance into every acre worked and every harvest completed. Today, as technology advances and machines become more digital and automated, the iron legends of the 1980s still stand tall, still running, still respected, and still loved. They were built in an age when farming was about more than just efficiency. It was about pride, power, and perseverance. These were not just machines. They were the heartbeats of the 1980s. They were John Deere. So that's it for today. If you like this video, then please hit the like and subscribe button for more videos. Thanks for watching.